Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another adventure of Real Comic Heroes podcast. My name's Travis.
And I'm Patrick.
And I'm Ralph Attanasia from TV's Cake Boss.
Welcome, Ralph.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks for
Nice
joining
to be
us.
here, guys. How you doing?
Doing all right. We
I'm already
survived.
intimidated by your voice.
It's,
You sound way more professional.
It's not uncommon for people to be intimidated by my voice. That's why I do only audio calls. If we did a video one, you guys would probably be knocked unconscious by my sheer magnificence.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Also, I'm very humble.
Yeah, we can tell.
You sound like our president.
Oh, wow. You're the second person to compare me to him in the last 5 minutes.
Yikes.
My roommate is
fact.
bringing me a PKE meter. Thank you, Ian. Ian Powell, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Ooh. Is that the old toy that they had out, or is it a Costco thing?
No,
Okay.
this is the old original. Oh, jeez, yeah. So yeah,
Well, yeah.
Ghostbusters, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess we just jumped into it there, didn't
Yeah,
we?
might as well. So if you're a new listener, each episode we review a movie, usually from the comic book genre, but this time, a little more paranormal. And obviously I need some help, but Patrick, who are we going to call?
Ghostbusters, the male version.
What were
To
you
my-
saying?
My
Yeah.
daughter's great disappointment when I said I was watching Ghostbusters. She said, "Oh, the boy one." So
How
yeah,
old is your daughter?
4.
Yeah, see, little kids don't know anything.
Yeah, it still hurt though.
I mean,
'Cause-
no disrespect when I say that, but little
Oh
kids
yeah,
don't
no,
know.
it destroyed a little piece of me, and I'm scared that she's gonna be like those kids from the late '90s that love the prequel Star Wars, and I still don't understand that. So I have a feeling I'm gonna fall into the same trap with her in Ghostbusters.
Hey, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about Ghostbusters.
I as I usually do, I look up the taglines in IMDb for Ghostbusters. It got a little crazy because they had a re-release of this,
Oh, okay.
so they created new taglines that
Gotcha.
I won't even go into how awful they are.
No. You really should.
Yeah. Well, hit us with the originals, and then
I mean, it's so like it's not even. It's like they didn't even try. It's basically rehashing what they already did.
okay.
So we got "They're Here to Save the World,"
Mm-hmm.
"Coming to Save the World This Summer,"
Hmm.
"We're Ready to Believe You."
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
"Who You Gonna Call?"
There you go.
Of course.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Then we got "The Supernatural Spectacular."
Hmm.
Which,
Yeah.
and then "They Ain't Afraid of No Ghosts."
That's a little.
And then the one that doesn't even sound like a tagline and must have been part of a re-release was "The World's Most Successful Comedy."
Yeah. Hopefully that came after it was already did its business. So.
Yeah, and then the other ones are like "Here to Save the World Again."
Okay.
So it's literally just adding one word.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't get that last one about the best comedy ever
Sure.
in the entire world, whatever.
I think my favorite is the "We're Ready to Believe You."
Yeah, we're ready to believe you, and who you
Yeah.
gonna call are standouts there. They're here to save the world could describe almost any group of movie heroes.
And really, it was just New York. I don't know how far. I guess. See, it never like does that thing where you take a look at like Tokyo having ghost problems of their
Oh,
own.
yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's all
Well,
decentralized, and I guess it'll spread from there.
Right.
I mean, ancient Sumeria or Babylon or whatever, like 6,000 BC, it was a lot easier to destroy the world because it was only like 1 million guys.
Sure.
So, yep, those are the taglines for the 1984 boy version Ghostbusters.
The men only
Yes.
version.
Yeah, men's only.
A movie as old as I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were really old enough to be there, like
No,
at the theater.
No, I was born the year before this, so
Yeah, and I was 3, so I was probably still learning to wipe my own ass.
sure.
Oh, I'm the baby of this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, usually
Born in
I'm the old
84?
man, except for sometimes when I'm not.
Sure.
Just barely though.
Now I'm
Just-
clinging to it.
Yeah. So then we probably all have similar stories or whatever, but Ralph, what is your history with Ghostbusters?
Well, I remember watching Ghostbusters all the time as a little kid. I had some of the toys, and until very recently, I still had Fearsome Flush, the haunted toilet.
What?
Is that from
Yeah,
like the cartoon?
But that was from the cartoon.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, when I was younger, I was primarily like as a little kid. My primary exposure to the Ghostbusters was via the cartoon, and I remember watching the live action movie when I was probably between 3 and 5. That sounds right.
Okay.
And just thinking that it looked wrong. You know, they all have brown hair. They all have the same color jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Why is
Oh,
Slimer
yeah.
sort of a bad guy? We're not
right.
that important.
Compared to the animated series, you mean?
Yeah, where it's
Okay.
Frank Welker nonstop. But no, as the older I got, the more I love this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say I knew the movie live action and the cartoon at about the same time, so I wasn't confused by the differences that much. Because I think the cartoons really kicked the toy game up a notch. Because I remember I had some kind of it was like a projector flashlight thing that could project ghosts onto the wall.
I had the same
Nice.
thing.
Yeah. And then the trap you could step on, it was just like air powered.
Oh, I remember
on
that.
it,
Yeah.
pops open. So, yeah, I want to say, God, I must have watched them. I've seen the TV version, so the edited, family-friendly version, way more than the well, not unrated, but like the theatrical version.
Right.
So when we get into our notes, there's going to be parts that I just still can't get used to because of how I got introduced to the Saturday TV movie version that they had. But yeah, God, it was the only thing that kept my brother from crying. So I watched it like, I swear, like at least 20 times in a row, like each
Really?
and every day. It was ridiculous. So yeah, I have a long and beloved history with Ghostbusters.
This is one of those movies that every time I watch it, I don't think it can be as good as I remember it being, and it's always better.
Yeah, 'cause-
The other movies like that, like The Princess Bride is a movie like that, which
Sure.
I just never think can possibly be as good as I remember it, and I watch it, and I'm just blown away every time.
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China is another one.
Okay.
That's quite the range there.
Yeah.
But they're all just such like weird, quirky, charming, crisp, sort of good-natured, goofy movies, and
Yeah.
they deliver every time. And there aren't a lot of movies like them. Everything now is so focused and marketed.
If there's something strange in the neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If there's something weird and it don't look good, who you gonna call?
First, let's real quick. We'll go over the act breaks. I think we've already established what we think they are. The act one ends with the we got one. You know, basically the ramping up of them going to their first job, I think. And then act two will end with the ghosts being released from the containment cell or containment unit, and then the Ghostbusters getting arrested. So if that lines up with you guys.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's the opening and closing of the business, I guess,
Yeah, basically.
in a way.
Yeah.
I have some questions about that too when we get farther in, but
Right.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. So, Ralph, if you'd like to kick us off with a point for Act 1.
Oh, geez. All right, there's so much, but I'm gonna softball it with like right in toward the beginning when we're first meeting Venkman and he's performing his experiment, and the guy that he keeps electrocuting, tells him, like, you're starting to piss me off. And he's like, well, then my theory is correct.
Yeah.
Just, he commits to being such a dick right out of the gate, and I'm such a big fan of that. But just like that whole exchange is just like a bunch of crisp little jokes. Like it keeps compounding on itself every time. It's like, well, how do you think it's going? Well, it's pissing me off. Well, then maybe my theory is correct. You can keep the $5. Like all of that for $5, and to get to that is that scene's a delight. And Venkman is real creepy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think? I'm torn with the little experiment that he's doing with these two. Either, the idea of negative reinforcement, like that's something that they really study and all that. Is he legitimately trying to see how long will this guy put up with it because he's going to be wrong every time, or is he only using his influence to, hook up with this girl?
Ding, ding, ding.
I guarantee he has to be doing like some amount of experiments or some amount of research every year, or he loses his job or funding or whatever. So he just makes up this garbage to do. He has figured out a really good hustle at this university. And the side bonus is that he gets to talk to these young co-eds all the time.
Yeah, I think the dean even says that he treats science more like a hustle.
Yeah.
Or a dodge. It's one of the most awkwardly delivered lines in the movie.
Along the lines of like just perfectly introducing a character. I think they do that pretty well throughout with each of the... I mean, you got Ray that barges in excited like a new puppy. Just like, and that's him. Like, he is just that childlike wonder kind of character in this movie.
Yeah.
Or
we've already gotten Venkman too. Like right out of the gate, we know what he's about. And then Ray barges into this thing, super excited, and we immediately get their relationship when he pulls him aside and just gives him a big like Three Stooges smack across the back of the head.
Yeah.
And Ray isn't fussed by it. You can tell that they're friends, and he's just like, no, I get it. This is what Peter's like. Like, we've got who they both are and their relationship without having to do to make the mistakes. Like, did you see Valerian that just came out this summer?
No.
No,
it's terrible. But the movie, it spends the first few minutes with the two main characters telling each other who they are. Like, I was the top of my class in the academy, but you know that because we've been partners for years. I'm charming and handsome.
Nice.
And like, it's so ham-fisted and so painful to watch. And when you're watching something like this, you get exactly who these characters are from what they're doing in relation to each other and the world. And it's seamless and it's entertaining.
Yeah. And I mean, it's almost like each and every character, because Egon, I mean, he's over there doing his, he's the more sciencey one of the group, and the more serious type. And he even, there's that little counter back and forth about how the one time he tried to drill a hole in his head.
Yeah.
And it would have worked if he hadn't
stopped me.
And I was like, okay, perfect. I know this guy's a little off base, but he's a serious dude.
I can never tell how aware of what he's like Egon is.
Oh, okay.
He's the biggest enigma of the four of them.
Yeah, he's almost got like some kind of social disorder.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he doesn't know how to interact with people normally, and I think he can only interact with those two.
But there are also times when he seems really savvy, like when they're talking to the real estate agent a little later.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's 100% just being like, nope, structural damage to all the load bearing, like he's totally in on the con with Venkman.
Well, and he's even like feeding Venkman the amount to charge the hotel guy,
Right.
So yeah, he's definitely not above like getting in on Venkman's cons and stuff, but I kind of wish that we had gotten less Murray, because Murray's just playing Venkman as. I mean, I see his character almost as if I don't know the name of the character, but the guy he plays in Stripes, if he'd gone back to college and got a psychology degree, because it's a lot of just the same character, you know.
This is not a flaw in my eyes.
Sure, sure. It's just I had a real hard time watching this movie just because I was so focused on what Bill Murray was doing, and I couldn't get away from it. I was just so distracted by the Bill Murray of it all. It got better the second time I watched it, but it was just hard to take him seriously and hard not to be annoyed by him.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our podcast.
Yeah, I know. I
Technical
was, you know,
difficulties.
I know. But I really just wish we got more Egon and more Ray at this point. Like,
See, I think we have about as much Ray as this movie can handle.
yeah, I guess it's a little bit more leaning towards Egon, but you know,
I'm with you. He's an amazing character.
Sure.
Egon Spengler is almost unique in movie history because I have no idea what the hell he is.
Sure.
Yeah, he always reminds me of like Rayman or something, like just sort of this like savant when it comes to certain things, but other things he's just woefully inept. Like his interaction with Janine.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I mean, he's not the most socially aware person, but he's when it comes to like I guess emotional things, it seems like. But when it comes down to like technical things or just like the business, it seems like he's really got a hold on things. But outside of that, I don't see him being successful with the ladies or whoever.
Right. Yeah, I think these guys are his only friends.
Yeah. Because there's those guys that are so smart that they just don't translate with everybody.
Sure.
You know?
I think the closest real life analog I can draw to Egon Spengler is Jamie Heineman from Mythbusters.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's got some semblance of social interaction, but it's
And
almost
some
like
things
he's
like
trying too hard.
yeah, and some things like get through his veneer and amuse him. Like you can tell
Yeah.
every now and then that like he's proud of a little joke he's made.
Yeah.
But he's
Yeah.
definitely awkward.
Yeah. That's a perfect
Yeah.
real
yeah,
life person to compare him to.
All right, who's next?
I'll jump in with one of my earlier ones, and it's just that I feel terrible seeing the librarian and only thinking laces out. Like I couldn't, you know.
He held that football laces out like he was supposed to.
Yeah, this is Alice Drummond, and she plays it perfectly mundane, like down to her wardrobe, her haircut, just the way she's just walking through the library. It I don't know, it really works, and the sequence itself is shot beautifully. It's very dramatic. It's got a great bit of score, and then it's juxtaposed really nicely with, you know, with everything that we see here with her in the library. And then when we see them coming into the basement later, it's a sillier score. It's nonstop sarcasm from Venkman, so it's completely different. You know, it's almost the same scene because it's her coming down into the basement, walking through the bookshelves, and then we get to see them do the same basic, you know, path, but completely different tone. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's a great opening.
Yeah,
Like that
It's also
whole sequence.
it's balanced really well
Sure.
between Venkman and between Egon and Ray. Like they're completely buying into all of this stuff. They're just such an extreme. And then to have Venkman be on the other side of that, like, yeah, no human would stack books this way. Like it just it lets you, as a member of the audience, have the middle path and ride through the story really comfortably and just be entertained by everything that's happening.
Yeah, I noted with Egon and Ray, just their character traits, and I think, like you said, Ralph, Ray is just excited, and I wrote down that Egon is just always cautiously interested. Like
that's a good
he
one.
doesn't get excited really,
Yeah, there's like only like one instance I can think of. I'm blanking on it now.
about
Is it
him
when he-
getting
is it
excited.
when-
Yeah.
I have a note for that later.
Okay. I think I know when it is, but I'll let you take that one because I can't remember it for the
Yeah,
life of me.
we'll get there. You tell me if I'm right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're lovely, and this is like the first time you see the three characters together is in this library. And just this whole sequence is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like the ghost still looks great. I
it
think
does.
to this,
It does.
and it's like a pleasantly kind of spooky scene. Like it's not scary, but it has like a fun spookiness to it.
It's almost comically. It's almost
Abbott and Costello.
well.
Yeah, I was going to say you almost could have put the Marx Brothers in there.
Sure. But I mean, just them running, like they're continuing to run when they're way out, outside the doors, down the steps, across the courtyard. Like they're still running, and it's like it wasn't that,
It was
that's
the
scary.
ghost, Trev.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how I'd react if I had
sure.
some creepy librarian ghost lady. I think I noticed for the first time when they come across the ghost, there's like that gentle breeze.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once it goes, full on Hulk or poltergeist, it blasts air out. And I thought that
Right.
was a cool touch I'd never paid attention to before.
Yeah, I noticed their
all
hair
their
gently
gentle
breeze. Yeah.
flowing
Yeah.
Egons.
Yeah. But yeah, I loved Egon's retreat. He was like high stepping it, going backwards.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That's what made me think of like the old time monster movies, like Abbott
Sure.
and Costello Meet the Mummy.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Granted, I've only
man.
seen like a couple of those, but it just made me think of that.
There's one real one note for this that just when Egon proposes that they could potentially capture those ghosts with the information that they got. And Peter looks at him and he's like, Egon, I take back some of the terrible things I said about you. And then he just produces a candy bar.
Yeah,
And the thing that follows is so subtle and
Yeah.
so real. Like, it just, you could tell that Spegler, like for a second, he's about to take it because he wants it. And he sees that there's like a gag going on and he stops himself because he's always composed. And just Dan Aykroyd's reaction to the two of them
Yeah.
is so genuine. Just that warm, like, these are my dopey friends smile.
yeah.
There are a couple of moments like that in this movie that I really like.
I noted that too. It was nice, almost out of place hold on Dan Aykroyd's face, just letting that reaction come through, because it did feel like just a real thing that happened that wasn't planned, and it almost doesn't fit in the movie,
Yeah.
but it's really endearing. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole movie. There's all these little moments throughout, that's what Bill Murray is. He's basically a one-line smart-ass machine.
I listened to I Was There Too. It's Matt Gorley's podcast where he talks to people that were usually in the background scenes. Like in this particular episode, he was talking to the hotel manager.
Right, I listened to that one as well.
Okay, Michael Ensign, and he was talking about when he was on filming his scene that they basically didn't say any of the dialogue that was written in the script, and it was just Murray and Aykroyd just ad-libbing every single take. I'm sure all three of them, but
Trev, what the heck, man?
what's
You're
up?
just jumping into Act 2? We're just
Oh,
throwing
oh.
away the structure of the podcast? If I had known I was signing up for Bedlam, I wouldn't have bothered to wear a shirt. If we're just throwing caution to the wind, I'm going to talk about the end of the movie. Did you know that there's a marshmallow man?
Ralph, I appreciate you
together.
keeping me on track.
Oh,
Just unprofessional.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah, that just made my day.
Nice.
I apologize. I don't even care a little bit.
No, I needed to be reined in.
Acting.
Yeah, thank you.
Travis, you're a loose cannon.
I
You're
know.
the best damn podcaster on the force.
Thanks, Chief.
Get out of my office.
Well, I'm done for Act 1. I'm just going to sit back and let you guys,
You got anything else, Pat?
There is one section. It's when Peter goes to Dana Barrett's apartment.
Yeah.
It's towards the end of Act 1. And
okay.
my favorite thing is like just his entrance into her apartment and like the whole interaction with everything around him. Like he does the little tink 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 on the piano keys. He's like, oh, they hate this. It's like, that's right, boys, Bakeman's here. And then he's got that weird like air like squeeze ball thing that's sucking in the air, and she's like, do you even know how to use that thing? And he's just like, I think so. Like, he's not even really trying that hard to pretend like he's even knowing what he's doing. But my favorite line is when he goes like to the bedroom, and then she goes, well, nothing happened in there, and he's like, God, that is a shame.
Yeah.
That scene starts off really charming, and then the more time he spends there, the more uncomfortable it gets.
It gets really weird.
My note for the end of it is just Jesus Venkman.
Yeah. Well, there's
physically pushing you out of her apartment.
There's a really weird transition. Once she points out the refrigerator and he looks into it, and they transition from the kitchen then to, I guess, the living room. And it's like the conversation shifts to suddenly being about him, wanting to take her out, wanting to go out with her, and he's acting like he's gonna, like, I forget what he says, like, I'm gonna try to do this and you're gonna like wait for me and this and that. It's like, I don't know if there was a deleted scene between kitchen and living room that it's just it ramps up really.
He does have a couple of scenes where he comes across as very creepy by today's standards.
Yeah, it starts off that way because before they even leave, he's,
Sure.
I'm going to go with the client and check her out. Check out her apartment or whatever it was. So, he's not like...
Mr.
It's weird. He's like Egon in a way because socially, he's just dialed up to 11.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't know how to, like, go it slow. He's just full throttle all the way.
He's a good counterpoint to Egon.
Sure.
He was creepy with the co-ed too. So
yeah, but I think his wheelhouse is anyone that perceives him as having not authority but status or.
Yeah, he's definitely a status seeker.
Yeah. Well, and like I'm sure he goes after every co-ed he can because they see him from a position of power, or. But I doubt he dabbles in, trying to hit on people like Dana very often, who are, maybe more sophisticated than he is, more of a challenge. Yeah, I think he likes the easy targets and the low hanging fruit.
And Sigourney Weaver, just as an aside, is stunning in this movie.
Yeah.
We went through the first act. Actually, we either went through it too quickly or spent a lot of time on it. But just really quickly, the in-camera effect with the eggs popping and cooking on the counter is a really nice little thing.
Yeah, I noted
just
that.
As someone who enjoys that kind of thing.
I couldn't figure out how I meant to look it up. I wasn't sure how they did that with them popping out of their shells. I don't know. I don't know how you make an egg just pop,
Spring-loaded eggs.
I guess. I don't know.
There's God, what was it? There's also like that weird bubbly foamy stuff that kept coming out too. Like it wasn't
the egg,
like, yeah. So I don't know if they did like some kind of Mentos thing in Diet Coke where you add an element and it pops.
If I had to guess, and I do because I'm not going to look it up, I'd bet that they had something shooting compressed air through the bottom of those eggs.
Yeah.
I could see that. Man,
right,
way to ruin the magic for me.
Yeah.
Mr. Jump Ahead, you ready to get to Act 2?
My only other point for Act 1 would be what a difference real locations make. And throughout the first and second act, especially, it feels like there's a lot of this movie where they manage to shoot, real locations, and like maybe the interior of the firehouse is a set. If it is, it really doesn't seem that way. And I know Dana's apartment is certainly a set, but I think they did a really good job. Yeah, I think they do a really good job setting up this first act for sure, and then most of the second act is really done well, especially with the library, the hotel, like those real locations. They really help. So.
Yeah, that first act does a lot of heavy lifting and makes it seem really effortless.
Yeah. Patrick, you got anything else for Act 1?
Nope, I think we're on to 2, and we've got one.
Hello, Ghostbusters. Yes, of course they're serious. You do? You have? No kidding. Uh-huh. Well, just give me the address. Yes, of course. Oh, they'll be totally discreet. Thank you. We got one!
They were just finishing up the last of the petty cash on a magnificent meal and more Budweisers.
Oh, that's my very last note for that scene, is that they have 2 arcade machines and a pinball machine in there.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we don't have any money. Running this business is so... You guys have 3 arcade machines.
And a lot of giant electronic equipment that I don't know what it's all for.
Yeah.
They're packed with stuff. Plus, Ray bought that jalopy for way too much money. He spent like $4,500 on it.
Yeah, I think that's what he said, and like everything was busted on it.
Busted yeah. Bakeman's face just like falls when he tells him how much of it. But that's Ray. We're going to the hotel so you can talk about your podcast, you traitor.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even one of my notes for this act, but yeah, it was just Michael Ensign talking about how he got in trouble or was starting to get in trouble by Ivan Reitman, the director, and the other, Murray and Aykroyd had to basically back him up and say, "Hey, it's not him who messed up. We've been goofing around for like 2 hours." So, it was nice that they backed him up. But yeah, he basically just said that the script was basically thrown out the window, as soon as he got on set. So
the script was more of a guideline, not so much a...
loose guideline, yeah. And I think that's how Bill Murray, it seems, how he kind of goes through the entire movie, like kind of interested and just hitting his, hitting the marks, but kind of playing fast and loose with it everywhere in between.
It'll take me a while to get over your bashing of Bill Murray.
I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah, Pat, I don't know what we're gonna do about this guy.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know you anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez, you know what?
You know what is great though? That scene in the elevator when they're riding up and they're just like very matter of factly staring directly to the camera, like not looking at each other because they're in an elevator and you don't.
You're right.
And just talking about how they have like unlicensed, untested nuclear accelerators on their back. And like, all right, fire me up. And he hits it, and both of them edge up against the wall as though that would do anything.
Yeah, that is a beautiful moment.
Yeah,
it's weird because Egon sort of leads that move to the wall, and Bankman's like, "Well, if he's scared, then shit."
Yeah. And we better split up. You're right. We could do more damage that way.
I did like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was right after they blew up the cart that the poor cleaning lady had.
Nearly cut some old lady in half.
It's a heck of a way to start your ghost busting.
Yeah.
By almost creating a ghost. So this is the big introduction to a character beloved by the cartoon, but
yeah. Almost a throwaway here.
Yeah, I guess in Ralph's case, a confusing moment. Because you were saying that you thought of Slimer as a good goofy guy, but seeing him in the movie was a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, he's a minor antagonist.
Yeah, I don't know if he's supposed to be like some kind of sloth ghost or something, like some kind of greed monster because he's green. I don't know what he is, but
I do have some questions about what are defined as what ghosts are defined as, what these things that they're saying, because not all of them are the ghosts of people.
Sure.
Like the librarian,
Yeah.
sure, yes.
Yeah.
But what the hell is Slimer?
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. Did you see it? What is it?
We got it!
What is it? Will there be any more of them?
Sir, what you had there was what we refer to as a focused, non-terminal repeating phantasm or a class 5 full roaming vapor. Real nasty one, too.
like I always thought of him as like a sort of like a being of just pure greed or sloth.
Yeah.
Or, like because he's always eating. Like he's constantly doing that, and he slimes things. He's just a disgusting like entity. But he's the piece that he's like the oddball out because almost everybody else is a humanoid ghost. There's that one weird ghost that comes out in the next scene that I'm not entirely sure what it is, but let's just say the new Ghostbusters ruined Slimer for me.
Yeah. But you are correct. It tends to be either humanoid ghosts or possessed things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, he looked awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
the
whole effect.
puppeteering on that, like the performance of that special effect is astounding. Just like the way he's wiping his mouth and his lips and his tongue and everything. It's so convincing for, a composite shot of a puppet.
Yeah, the effect of him, like, going through the wall and the cart
Yeah.
flying behind, like, that's just an awesome little sequence they put together, and then the slime just sliding off the wall.
Yeah.
But the greatest special effect when I was a kid was Ray's cigarette.
Yeah.
Just hanging off
I
his
love
lip.
that.
It was just like a perfect touch. It's just like expressing like awe and fear at the same time. Like it's just
Also, Aykroyd and Murray, they clearly don't smoke.
oh yeah.
Like the cigarettes look so unnatural in their
Yeah.
mouths. I used to smoke. I quit a couple of years ago, but every time I see them with a cigarette in their mouth, I just watch them and like those guys don't smoke because that's not how you smoke.
Sure.
They don't look comfortable or used to it at all. Whereas you watch Ernie Hudson playing, Winston, and he either does smoke or he's actually watched somebody else smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
It's weird. There's that scene in the car, and it's just a cigarette in his hand on the steering wheel. It's not smoking or anything, but it looks like the ash is formed.
Mm.
I don't know if it's maybe because they were in a car and you couldn't have smoke in there and screw up the shot or something.
No, but you do that though. Like you don't just have it in your mouth the whole time. Most of the time you're holding it. Like if you're driving, it's in between your fingers. You got your arm out and you're flicking it out the side or whatever. But he's just, and it was the '80s, so they had an ashtray in the car.
Yeah. God. Yeah, I noticed that with Ray's cigarette. It wasn't at all lit, but I always thought it was cool just hanging there. Like,
yeah. I like that after Venkman gets slimed, he's like, "It slimed me," and then Ray is just like, "That's great." And, they radio Spangler, and they're like, "Venkman got slimed." He's like, "That's great." Like both of them just,
give me a sample.
Right. Yeah.
I liked Egon when he's using the PK meter thing, and he pokes the guy
Oh yeah.
just to make sure he's real.
Yeah.
I just always liked that part. It's like I always wondered if that guy had like some kind of reading coming off of him or something. Like, why would he think he's a ghost?
Maybe he's just close enough to the grave.
Yeah. Nice. So the elderly are practically ghosts.
I mean, they're not far off, right?
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
Going after Bill Murray and the elderly. Jeez.
Are there any other beloved people or groups you want to take a putt? Do you hate Tom Hanks?
Hmm.
You gonna take a
Of course
putt shot
not.
at Tom Hanks?
No, I'll come up with someone else by the end of the
What
episode.
about playful dogs?
Oh, they're the worst.
Oh man. Okay, so do you guys have any notes on the ballroom scene?
Not really. Just so much destruction.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I should. I don't really have one until just a lot of this movie for me is just the little moments where they hold on someone's face, or like their reaction to something. Like when the trap closes and Bill Murray, like just his like opening one eye and the other, and the like, did I explode face? And none of that makes for good stuff to talk about in a completely audio format. So moving on.
I always thought it was odd that Egon brings up the crossing the streams then and not earlier on,
Sure.
like when they almost took out the cleaning lady.
It is pretty shoehorned in.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a pretty big something to forget about.
They had to throw that little, foreshadowing out there. But,
Yeah, you got to set it up. It's the whole Chekhov's gun.
Yeah. So I forgot that there's no time really spent on the development of any of their tech, the gear, the uniforms, the Ecto-1, the car itself. Mm-hmm. I think I'm just so used to the modern superhero movie where they'll get their powers and then we'll get 10, 15 minutes, or if it's an Iron Man movie, the first one, it's basically the entire second half of building and testing and trying out things. So it was jarring that it just transitions from them buying the building to, they get their first call and they're already, off and running. They've got a logo,
Yeah,
so
it's all sort of explained away by Egon just going, I think based on these new readings that we got, I can build something to contain a ghost.
Right,
and it's
yeah.
like, okay, we're not. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So it was strange, but, I like it, because they don't waste time with that. But I'm just so used to seeing that section of the movie. So it's kind of strange.
I actually think it's to the movie's benefit,
Sure.
because this movie is first and foremost a comedy,
Right.
and just keep it moving along.
Yeah,
Comedies work best when they move along quickly. You just get carried through it. We don't really need to belabor.
I
we
think
saw
Travis
what the
just likes the newer
developing
one.
Oh, no,
we
no,
saw
no.
the developing the tech montage or scenes or whatever in the most recent Ghostbusters movie,
Right,
and
yeah.
it's not funny.
Yeah. And that was, I didn't want to compare this one to that one too much, but yeah, I remember seeing that, and they do spend a lot of time, even down to the logo where they talk about creating and all that. But so it's just kind of strange, but it works great for this movie.
My least favorite thing about this movie is in this act.
Okay.
It's the sort of montage that follows this scene.
Sure. Yeah.
Ray's dream,
Yeah.
where he has epaulets, some kind of big. I never noticed the epaulets before. He's in some kind of fancy military general coat, and a lady ghost shows up to fillet him. Why is that in there?
Yeah.
Why do we need to see that?
Yeah, that's why the TV version is superior, because that was not in it. And it screwed me up when I saw that later. I was like, what the hell did my parents let me watch?
Right. It
But
is
yeah,
really
it
out
is.
of. Yeah, it really stands out as being just. It doesn't
It's like a
fit.
what the hell moment.
It's
Yeah.
not like there was any prior indication that Ray is sexually aroused by ghosts.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
That's particularly funny on its own.
Right.
It just is the most jarring flaw in what is otherwise a really crisp, fun movie.
Yeah. What I wasn't sure on, so after basically the end of this dream, when it transitions back to them, they're all three in the beds next to each other. They're all kind of tossing and turning. Are they all experiencing the same thing? I didn't know if that was meant to hint that they were all three going through the same thing or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you just gave it more thought than they did.
Okay.
Yeah. It's best not to think about it.
Yeah.
Just move on.
That's got Dan Aykroyd written all over it because
sure.
he's a nut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love the ghost busting montage that precedes all that. It's we get the song and it sets up their progression as professionals and then becoming like small time celebrities. So by the end of the movie, we don't. It's believable that they would be the ones you would call. They've established a
Right.
Little history of their service and everything. So.
And you got Larry King and Casey Kasem making cameos in there.
Yeah. I think the montages throughout the entire movie are really, really well done. Because there are quite a few of them, it seems like, from here towards the end. But
Okay, so I've been trying to figure this out for a while. Lewis,
okay,
the down the hall neighbor,
yeah,
does he have like some kind of trip sensor that he knows when Dana's coming past the door? Like, it's a little odd. Like, she's even trying to tiptoe past, so it's happened a lot.
yeah.
So that has still boggled my mind. Like, is he just standing at the peephole, like, at a certain time of day every day?
Oh, man, how sad would that be? Especially...
Even at his own party?
Yeah.
That sounds right, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's totally hapless. He's got that blonde lady that's there wanting to dance with him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just a weird relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, in response to just to jump back a bit, but to what you were saying before about the montage and all of those things going on and us believing them becoming credible, how much time elapses over the course of this movie? Because if he's coming, and just jumping ahead a little bit, but when Peter comes back to Dana at her rehearsal or whatever. And she's like, whatever, do you have any information about my case? Like, if it's only been a couple of days or like a week, that makes sense. But if it's been longer than that, it feels weird that he would be coming back at all or that she would be expecting him to.
I think it's been at least a few months because he's wearing a jacket.
Well, they
That's
did
my whole
film
theory.
like in, I think the filming dates were like, I have them down here. October 83 to February 84, so.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's a long shoot.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, wait, no, that's 5 months. That's not that long. I know how years work.
Well, I know in permission to reference something that happens in the third act.
Oh, no, go ahead, Dr. Chaos. Just throw it everywhere.
In the mayor's office, Winston says that I've been working with these guys for a few weeks. So.
But he doesn't show up till after the montage.
Sure.
Correct? Okay.
But then I didn't know if we were talking about just the span of the entire movie or what.
Oh, yeah.
So we at least know that a few weeks transpire between kind of, I guess, whenever he jumps on board, middle of the second act or whatever.
He does show up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Considering the information Peter has, it couldn't have taken more than an afternoon to read Tobin's Spirit Guide and give that information.
Well, there's no Google, so it's not like information is.
Egon's got to have that book.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they always know, check out the usual literature, and then they go through these names of like paranormal books or something, or religious books. So it seems like it shouldn't have taken too long to come up with that information to give to her.
I'm going to say comfortably I could believe 2.5 weeks max.
Yeah. Because Janine says something about working 12 days straight or something.
Oh, yeah.
Without a break. And I imagine that's the montage, at least portion of the montage.
Yeah.
Although they're on so many like TV shows, I mean, that had to take weeks and
magazines and
I don't know, that it's best not to think about it, I guess.
Yeah.
But earlier, those moments of people making just little faces that feel really real. When Venkman is talking to Peck a little later on, and he's like, "Well, I'd love to show you, but you have to say the magic word." He's like, "What is the magic word?"
Yeah.
Please. And when he says, "Will you please show me the containment unit?" Just like his genuine, all right, this guy's giving me a little he's messing with me. He's kind of a funny guy. Let's do this. I'm a little frustrated, but he's okay. Like, all of that is conveyed on his face in that one smile.
Yeah.
And then it's all thrown back at him by Venkman being a dick afterward. But it's a really great expression.
I'd say another example of that would be Janine when she answers the phone.
Yeah.
It's like, Ghostbusters, what do you want?
I love that.
It's just
She is perfect in everything she does.
Yes. I like later. Yeah, later when she's talking to Egon about having a little bit of she says she's a little psychic.
Usually very psychic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when she's like talking about the Keymaster.
Yeah, yeah.
She has a bad feeling about him.
I think she even tells Egon that she doesn't feel like he's going to make it through the night or something, or like, I don't know.
I think you're gonna die, and he just has this like indulgent smirk as he pats her on the back when she does that.
Yeah,
he's they're great.
Yeah, the Peck character. Are you guys familiar with the movie Real Genius?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm always yelled at for never having watched that movie.
Okay, because Peck is the main, I guess, bad guy in that movie. So I always picture that character while I'm watching this. Because they're very similar. They're kind of smarmy, like intellectuals.
I wrote down the great Walter Peck, possibly the best civic villain of all time.
He's from the villain of this movie is from the EPA.
Right.
Which now seems horrifying to like my 21st century liberal sensibilities. I like the EPA has a specific purpose. I get that in the 80s, like that he was probably seen as annoying. Like, oh yeah, he blah 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 blah. We can't blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But like, it's a real organization that does important things. That guy just happens to be a prick.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and he happens to be going up against someone who, is Peter Venkman. So his, straight-laced style just isn't gonna. They're just not gonna mesh.
Just more of your anti-Venkman rhetoric.
Oh no.
It's I mean, I kind of like now I'm more on Peck's side. Because it is like some crazy shit that they're holding in that place. And it's a residential area, for crying out loud.
I'm with him until he doesn't listen to the expert that he brought with him and shuts it down.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow, look who's skipping ahead.
That's still Act 2, friend.
It's right on the edge.
Yeah.
Pat, I thought you were on my side.
Yeah, I guess that is before the explosion. So.
Yeah.
Touché.
My question is, like, what would have happened if there was just a power failure? Like, they've already talked about how the wiring is a nightmare and all that. Like, what if there was just a natural, or naturally occurring power failure in the area and they lost, this containment unit was suddenly.
They have backups.
Do they? I mean,
there was multiple panels over there. I
think okay. We're fine then.
The main. I'm just assuming that they did their due diligence and put up precautions.
Just before we get out of the firehouse, I'm just worried that we're going to gloss over Winston's introduction.
Oh no.
Because Janine's whole spiel about do you believe like Stonehenge crop circles, the Loch Ness monster, the theory of Atlantis, all of that, and she just delivers it so beautifully because everything she does is perfect.
Yeah.
And the handsome, amazing Ernie Hudson is who she's talking to. Like it just we don't know who she's talking to. She does that whole thing and it turns and it's him and it's just, lady, you pay me, I'll believe whatever you want. And it's just like that. He's accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hand them the ghost traps. They're like, we're beat. Here you go. You're hired.
I love that.
I assume Ray is the one that made that interviewing questioning. Those questions seem like something he would ask people, maybe.
See, I'd lean more towards Venkman just to screw with people.
Well, I'm going to say Egon because he's the other one.
It just seems like Ray would really be into all those things. I don't know. It just
Yeah.
seems like I always
Yeah,
wondered who
yeah.
came up with the interview questions. All right, well, we each took one. One of us is right. The other two are horribly wrong.
Yeah.
I'd take those odds.
I really wish we got more Ernie Hudson in this one. I read that he had a larger role, but basically when they decided to give more screen time to Bill Murray, it kind of cut into.
Oh, here we
Yeah,
go again,
yeah.
Travis.
I can't hide it anymore.
Patrick, if you're on board, I'm going to say we start our own podcast where
Yeah.
we stick to the format and we like Bill Murray.
That's right.
Son of a bitch. I always knew it would come to this.
Man.
Really? You always knew it would come specifically to this?
Yeah.
The minor reality television personality from New Jersey would usurp your role on your podcast?
It was always going to be someone from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, now you got something against New Jersey. Jeez. Travis doesn't
He might
trust
be
New
justified
Jersey.
in that.
Yeah.
No.
Name one crooked politician from New Jersey.
I'm sorry, I occasionally go ever so slightly deaf. Didn't hear anything that was just said. Let's move on.
I never remembered Dana's like weird abduction thing in her apartment going down the way it did, and wasn't really comfortable with all the hands grabbing at her.
They're going right for the boobs.
Yeah, totally. It really reminded me of the tree scene in The Evil Dead, which isn't really a good thing.
Right for the boobs they went.
Yeah. I mean, that was the one part that usually scared me as a little kid.
Oh, okay.
Like the arms coming out and grabbing her. Like as a kid, I don't realize, don't touch boobies. I mean, I was still like, a couple years away from drinking from one.
Sure.
But
The scene that always scared me is in the second act as well, when Tully is running from the ghost dog in Central Park and he's up against the glass at that restaurant. That scene scared the hell out of me as a child.
Huh.
yeah, now it's
one of the
kind
ones
of
where I'd
comical.
find a reason to leave the room during it, like the Gmork at the end of the Never-Ending Story.
Yeah, looking at it now, it's kind of funny though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really silly
Yeah.
because he doesn't see the demon dog or whatever it is, past the elevator. Like, I don't know why he thinks that it's specifically chasing him once he, leaves the hotel and, books it across Central Park. Like,
That's a really good point.
Like, I don't know why he's necessarily running because he doesn't see it chase him.
He's just scared, and it's his natural instinct.
Yeah, I guess, get as far away as he can for.
Leave the date he had and just run for it.
Are you the keymaster?
Yes. I'm a friend of his. He told me to meet him here. I didn't get your name.
I am Zul. I am the gatekeeper.
Oh. What are we doing today, Zool?
We must prepare for the coming of Gozer,
Gozer, huh?
the destructor.
We got the scene where Venkman shows up at the apartment for his date. This is another scene that drastically changed from the TV version because it didn't have the whole thing with about like her asking Venkman to be inside of her.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff. Like she really gets fairly graphic with it.
Yes,
'Cause,
she's pretty explicit with what she wants.
She at that, and as a kid, I didn't understand the gatekeeper and keymaster thing. Like I didn't realize that they had to do something in order to.
Yeah. It's
Open the
subtle,
way they have to
but
do.
yeah.
But this scene, this is another one. It was like a jump scare, where she sort of roars while she's floating and stuff. Always gets me. But her line that I wrote down was, "Take me now, sub-creature."
Aren't we just about at Act 3?
I think so.
Yes, we are.
Act 3 starts with the power getting shut off, and I think another perfect montage with the all the ghouls escaping, and I really wish there was more of that. Seeing all the ghosts going out and causing trouble. I absolutely love the cab driver.
Yes.
That physical puppet, he looks amazing.
I like the crazy subway ghost as well. I don't know what the heck it's supposed to be. But
Oh,
it
That was the other thing. That's the other Slimer-like thing. It's just this weird, like, hooked, like, scythe-handed thing flying out of the subway.
Kind of like a bat, but not quite. Yeah.
Couldn't figure it out. I assume that's just, I couldn't figure out what that...
Oh, also, one of the first things you see in Act 3, a very young Ron Jeremy.
Yeah.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, he's behind the barricade.
Yeah, he's the farthest person to the left in the front. There's the young adult film star. There's a comma in there that's very important. Ron Jeremy.
Nice.
He's
just there, and one assumes he brought his giant wiener with him.
Probably. He probably had it with him.
Probably.
The former love of my life when I was 11 or 12. Nope. I'm moving on. But speaking of, like, cameos or other people who are in this movie, I guess Debbie Gibson is a little girl that was in when Lewis runs up to that glass glass wall, trying to escape from the dog thing. Like, she's the birthday girl that's in that dinner scene or whatever. Took me a minute to find her. There's two girls that could possibly be her, very brunette. Apparently she's in there. So
yeah. So it's Your Mother. Is that what you're thinking of, Pat?
Yep.
Oh,
Your Mother. I love that. I just love that. Because it's sort of like he's trying, but why would he ever say your mother?
Yeah. I didn't catch that till the second time I watched it. I didn't even hear it the first time.
It's so funny and so good because they've set him up as so stoic and so phlegmatic for the whole movie up to that point, just so that he could explode with "Your mother." It's the just he knows that that's technically an insult that you shout at someone. Is sort of how it feels. Like, everything about Egon is off a little bit.
Yeah, I love it.
And the dad from what? Family Matters? Is that the show I'm thinking of?
Yeah, Reginald Vell Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, as the jail guard.
That's right.
One assumes that those things take place in the same universe then.
Yeah. So
wasn't he also the cop in Die Hard?
Yeah.
You guys, the show I'm thinking of is Family Matters, right? I'm not saying the wrong show, and then everyone on the internet's going to tell me.
You got it.
That's Urkel. Yeah. That's the Urkel.
Goodness.
Yeah, the show that was about him, the family man, and then it became the Urkel show.
Yeah. I had I was playing D&D on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I said the wrong rule, and then a guy made an animated thing about it. Oh, boy.
Nice.
You must have really screwed up for somebody to put that kind of time into it.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed.
So, they're in like a holding cell that I never quite understood how he had the blueprints with him.
I think he had him in his coveralls because he was still wearing the jumpsuit.
He probably got them wherever Venkman got 300 cc's of Thorazine on that date.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Oh, wow.
I did not... Oh, way to blow a hole in my movie watching.
Man.
Jeez. So now he's even creepier that he has that on hand.
Oh, man.
Just ready and willing for the ladies.
Let's not dwell on that.
You just
How great are the
Cosby'd him.
inmates in that holding cell?
Yeah, I just was confused about that scene. I didn't know if they'd why he had that blueprint with him if they were in a holding cell. I figured they would have processed him at least, taken what was on him, you know?
Yeah, I just assumed that he pulled it out of his, pant leg.
but now I'm really thrown off by the Thorazine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man, way to drop that bombshell.
It seems like an amount of time has passed while he's in Dana's apartment. I hate to go back to that, but as long as we're here, it seems like some time has passed. It's conceivable that he left, got it, and came back.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, why would he have, at the very least, 300 cc's of Thorazine with him on that date?
So, yeah, but would he have left her?
Yeah,
like
that I don't see happening.
God. Oh, it's depressing.
Yeah, that Dickless line is in this.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
there we
yes.
go.
We're back. We're back.
We're back. Okay. I love this scene with Peck and Venkman.
These men are consummate snowball artists. They use sense and nerve gases to induce hallucinations. People think they're seeing ghosts. And they call these bozos who conveniently show up to deal with the problem with a fake electronic light show.
Everything was fine with our system until the power grid was shut off by Dickless here.
They caused an explosion.
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
It is a great scene, but that line, that just everything would have been fine until Dickless here turned off the power. Is this true? Yes, Your Honor, it's true. And you can see him for a second deciding whether or not he's going to dick around or try to make the situation better, and just goes with it. This man has no dick. It is one of the best jokes in movie history. Dick?
Oh
boy.
That's awesome.
Talking about good in-camera effects. How about the street open?
Oh, the street, yeah. I was like, when I was watching it, I was just like, wouldn't that be great if the movie just ended there? All into the whole credits.
Like Holy Grail style.
People just slowly start leaving.
Like, oh.
I guess that's it.
I just love that. It was I don't know if it's good or not because it always makes me think of like a theme park ride. Like,
yeah.
It's like sort of Jaws ride style, like it's just animatronic.
Very mechanical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Specifically of the very beginning of it, when the street itself cracks open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it does go on for a bit long, and it does feel like they're just moving big chunks of street.
Yeah. Like one at a time, long shots of each, thing, and it's full action, and it ends a little clunky.
You got some people doing the Star Trek leg shake.
Yeah.
As the ground's shaking, so I guess that lives on. Oh, there was one other part in the mayor's office where I don't know if it's the cardinal or bishop shows up, and he's like, he's talking to the mayor about how he thinks it could be like an act of God, but don't quote him on that.
Yeah.
And then Bill Murray's like, "Good call, Mike."
Yeah, I like that.
He just calls him Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just a little thing I like.
Yeah, it fits in the character, I think.
But it was an awesome, Bill Murray's stance was awesome with talking about how he'd saved the lives of millions of registered voters.
Oh,
he
yeah.
Really,
yeah.
That is a sales pitch and a half right there.
Lenny.
Yep, Lenny, baby.
Baby. You will have saved the lives.
It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. We gotta climb some stairs now.
I'm almost. This next part's hard because the fight with Gozer at the end is just nonstop them joking back and forth at each other, and if we stop on every one of them, we'll be here for the rest of the night. But I love it just is like someone ought to talk to her, do something about it, and they get right up there, and he's like, he gives the whole thing about as a duly represented, appointed representative of the state, county, and city of New York, all of that, and he finishes up. He's like, "That ought to do it, Ray. Thanks very much." Like that, just
pretty much is every line out of Bill Murray's mouth is just perfection.
Oh. Is Travis the Murray apologist now?
No. I love his dialogue.
Wow, I can hear the brakes
and
the beeping of you turning back on your own hatred of Bill Murray.
Right.
There is one section I've always been trying to hear. I think I got it this time, but it's when they're aiming at Gozer when
Yeah.
she's in the female form. Does Bill Murray say aim for the flat top?
Yes.
I think Gray says it, but yeah,
Gray?
it's aim for the flat
Okay,
top.
I could never figure out who said it. It sounded like Peter, but okay.
Could be either of them.
I just thought that was a funny. Just
It
like
is.
'cause-
That actress is great in that role. She's
yeah.
just
although I kind of wonder why they didn't die after getting shocked.
Yeah. I wasn't
She
sure.
literally says die.
Yeah.
And then shoots the force lightning.
I think they did a really simple effect on her eyes. I think they just painted her eyelids and had her close her eyes the entire time that she was looking at the camera.
Oh, okay. So they just put like eyelashes up top, and
I
then...
think so, because it looks like...
Yeah, her eyes are huge.
Yeah,
Like, if
but
that's true. That's really impressive.
I think that's what they did. I'd be interested to go back and kind of look and see if there's any, information on that. But yeah, I'm guessing that's what they did, but maybe not.
So, biggest movie twist in history?
With Stay Puffed?
You know what? That's right. We take that for granted because we've seen the movie so many times.
Sure.
The movie about fighting ghosts ends with a giant marshmallow mascot.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a little sneak peek in Dana's kitchen with the bag of Stay Puft marshmallows.
And
but...
on a building somewhere earlier in the movie, there's a Stay Puffed like painted advertisement on a brick wall. So yeah, nice little subtle hints at it.
I can't imagine people in the theater seeing that.
I wondered about that.
Like,
yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
It shouldn't work.
I really
but...
like his hurt face when they're blasting him.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love his big stupid face when he's happy. Like just that big huge grin. It like I said, it shouldn't work, but it totally does. And I even like the man in the suit. Like you can tell it's just a dude, stomping around some cardboard cities, and
Godzilla-esque.
Yeah,
it works much better than the Statue of Liberty does in the sequel.
Yeah.
Let's not speak of that.
At least not yet.
My last note for that part up on the roof, because I don't want to stay up here the whole time, is that they are very brave. Like, you don't think about it, but
sure,
an ancient god just told them they are all going to die. They chose the form of the destroyer or whatever, and Egon tells him, it's like, look, the one thing that might work is if we cross the streams like I told you not to back in the second act.
Yeah.
But there's a very slim chance that we might survive. So he doesn't even say there's a chance it'll work. He says there's a small, whether or not it works doesn't even get, he thinks it'll work, but he says there's a slim chance that we might even survive if it does work. And they all go with it. And I know it's like glossed over pretty quickly, but they're very brave.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, they've gone up against ghosts so far, but this is like a whole nother level.
And really, they haven't even gone up until now. Nothing has tried to kill them that we've seen.
Right. Slimer was probably the closest.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
This is nearly certain death, and they are choosing to go into it for other people. They're very brave.
I love the explosion that we get. Like, there's no way they would have survived that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the fireball...
The marshmallow encased them.
Oh, you think so? Yeah.
All except Venkman, who's barely touched by melted marshmallow at the end.
I did a little bit of math, because Winston said this isn't worth 11.5 a year.
Oh, okay.
Or 11.5 a year. So he makes $11,500 a year, which, is roughly $5.88 an hour. Sounds bad, but then I looked up 1983 minimum wage for New York was $3.36. So he's getting paid pretty decent. I was worried he was getting shafted, but might be okay.
Yeah, right on.
I always thought that sounded really small amount to me, so I don't know, just bugged me enough to do some quick math. Sorry, I had to nerd it up a bit.
Yeah.
No, I was actually wondering about that, and I'm sort of glad that you did that research, so I don't have to wonder anymore.
There you go.
Good job,
And if
Patrick.
my math was wrong, then maybe somebody will make an animated thing about that. Yeah. So yeah, we got goo everywhere, and Peck got an epic scream in before
that's
getting.
great.
It was
presumably killed by being covered by scalding, molten, otherworldly marshmallow god monster, which either burned him to death or suffocated him to death.
Yeah.
Surely.
That's the part I never understood when nobody had burns. Like, especially the Ghostbusters who were right there. Like,
What do you
the
think all that stuff
marshmallow
is made
wasn't
of?
even like. It's got to be like ectoplasm and marshmallow.
No. Real life style.
It was shaving cream.
Really?
Yeah. Because they were doing a test on the stuntman, who in place of Peck, and they tried. I want to say it was like 75 pounds of shaving cream just to test it, because William Atherton wouldn't do it without seeing it done first. And I guess the 75 pounds just knocked the dude like flat on his ass. And so he made sure that they, cut out, I don't know how much, but they, made sure to lessen the dose. But,
2 stuntmen died.
Yeah.
Thought you were going to get real morbid on us for a second.
No.
Okay, he just got knocked over. No big deal. Those guys are tough.
Yeah, so anything else for Act 3 or the movie in general?
I did enjoy Ray at the end when he said it smelled like burnt dog hair.
Oh, yeah.
And then you could see, like, he realized what he said.
Yeah.
And, like, his face extra pitiful with the marshmallow goo on it. I just always enjoyed that little bit of, emotional moment there until, all's well that ends well. And she cracked herself out of a dog casing.
There's a lot of stuff in this movie that is just excellent. Really had to gloss over a little bit, but if we spent any more time on it, it would be simpler for someone to just watch the movie, and probably more rewarding.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we covered possibly everything you could cover.
I think so. Yeah.
I am guilty of being way too excited and talking way too much on this.
I am too. When you guys reached out to me about this, and you were just like, "Hey, we're doing an episode on Ghostbusters. I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in." I pushed over people who weren't in my way because I wasn't rushing anywhere.
Small children, elderly people,
Tom Hanks.
Nice. Well, yeah, I'm glad we got you on here.
Yeah. Hey, Travis. Sorry, I didn't do anything wrong. You were the one with all the wrong opinions who was making the mistakes. Never mind.
I accept that. Yeah. Yeah. So,
I hope we can still be friends.
Yeah, I guess.
Shit. I don't think I can be friends with Travis.
Right. Yeah. That's.
Well, you don't have to, Pat, because it's you and me from here on out.
That's right.
Just let me know when you guys, post your episodes, and I'll listen.
Travis is the brains behind the operation. Just an FYI.
Oh, so well, all right. Well, I was assuming he would still keep editing and
oh, okay.
Oh,
all of that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, that's the worst part of all.
All the work and none of the
I get kicked off my own show, and then I have to edit it. Fart noises from start to finish.
Dang it.
So let's wrap up with some of our little segments. We got most heroic and most villainous.
I believe there's a hero in all of us.
I just finally know what I have to do.
That keeps us honest.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
Gives us strength.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards.
Makes us noble.
And I know in my heart that it's right.
I'm going to say most heroic is the guy from Con Ed who tried to stand up to Walter Peck and not let all the ghosts out. He was like, I know what my job is. This is definitely wrong.
Yeah. Patrick, what about you?
Heroic? Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of tough.
It's just the fact, like we were saying earlier, they actually went through with it.
Yeah.
And went up against a being from another dimension that's worshipped as a god, essentially.
Yeah, it wasn't until Ralph started talking about Egon, going over the idea of them possibly not making it. That became my most heroic.
It just doesn't ring as serious because of how the movie is, where Venkman, I think, immediately goes into a spiel about how he's, good to do this and happy to be a part of it, and sort of take some of that seriousness
Venkman
out.
might be one of Deadpool's parents.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, that would work.
You were made to be ruled.
Gods are selfish beings who fly around in little red capes and don't share their power with mankind.
In the end, you will always kneel.
I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
What about villains?
Well, now my most villainous is the fact that Venkman had that medicine on him.
All that Thor is.
So, thanks a lot there, Ralph.
You got it.
I'm never going to watch it the same. Oh, yeah.
No, I figured for sure I'd be the most villainous for this episode.
You do hate Tom Hanks and puppies.
Yep.
I heard that on a podcast once, so it must be true.
I mean, Peck has got to be it. I mean, the other ones are just being themselves.
Yeah. I got to go with the with Ivo Shandor, the guy that.
Oh yeah, man! Shandor is glossed over.
Designed the building, and this was his whole plan to,
wipe out
humanity because they're too sick to deserve existing.
Damn, Travis, that's a good call.
It kind of doesn't seem fair because he's not present in the movie, but it's
No, and also if this was the modern day movie, there would have been a whole flashback scene.
Yeah, prequel before the credits of him. Yeah.
It's it would be right, exactly. Instead of just seeing the library ghost, there would have been a whole thing where it would be a title comes up on the screen. It's 1922.
Yep.
And it's Ivo Shadow. It's soon my evil plan will be complete, and all of New York in 100 years will be killed by ghosts or something. I forget. Actual dialogue.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he's not American then, judging by your accent that you just used.
Yeah, that's my foreign accent.
With a name like Ivo Shandor.
Sure.
That's a foreign name.
Yeah.
He's from foreign parts.
Yeah. He's from where Fez from that 70s show is from.
Ah, yes.
Fez is also foreign, so they're from the same place.
Nice. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Anything that does or doesn't hold up that's noteworthy?
I feel like we covered it, but the ghost fellatio and Venkman creeping, neither of those things hold up.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that and the dog.
The dog effects,
running across the street thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stop motion composite shot of the terror dog running across the street doesn't hold up either.
Even the dog puppets, I think, the stationary, in the hallway, they still don't look great to me.
They're always laying on the ground like a frog.
Yeah. I never understood that.
I think all the
when
other
you just see their face, they're fine.
Yeah. I wish there were more because all the other ghosts, either the translucent ones or, like I said, the cab driver, those are all fantastic. But
well, hey, when we get back together again next year for Ghostbusters 2,
we've
got lots of ghosts to talk about then.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to come back. Thank you.
Well, we generally throw that in at the end, but goes without saying that we'd love to have
taking my cue from you, Trev. I'm all over the place. I'm a rebel now.
Well, I've already been kicked off the show, so it's up to Patrick to invite, do all the guest arrangements.
I thought we agreed you're still doing all the heavy lifting.
Son of a bitch. I got to
And
do all the
as the co-host
scheduling
of the
too.
show, I'm definitely going to be here when it happens.
Nice.
Uh,
Yeah, you'll definitely be scheduled for Ghostbusters 2 then. If
You heard it, audience. That's a promise. It's
Yeah.
ironclad.
what did that come out? 89. So
Jeez, I'll be dead.
it'll be a while.
It'll be a while. Yeah. All right. Did you want to just get into ratings? And
I think so. I think we could probably
wrap
skip
things
over
up?
pros and cons.
Yeah. I mean, we've gushed over it. We already know your con, and that's Bill Murray. But whatever.
Yeah, I'm with him too. He's a big scene hog.
Yeah. Take that, Patrick.
Yeah.
And who's that actor that I hate? He was in that
Tom
movie
Hanks.
where he's like talks to it. Yeah, the one who talks to the volleyball. That guy sucks. What do you call little dogs? Hate them.
See, I'm going to stand strong.
Hmm.
Cowards.
Yeah. All right. So some overall thoughts and ratings
What are we rating out of?
out of 5.
There we go.
Mm.
I wasn't sure if Ralph knew the scale.
Right.
5 being the best.
Yep.
I hate dealing in superlatives as a rule, but for what this movie is, like a lighthearted supernatural ghost comedy, other things have tried to do this and failed. There isn't another movie like it. It's as close to 5 stars as you can get. So I'm going to say 5 stars.
Nice. I'll have to. The only thing I can think of that I can put in the same category, because it's such a weird genre, like horror, comedy, supernatural, is a Peter Jackson film called The Frighteners.
I was thinking of The Frighteners also.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of that comes even close to trying to get in that same wheelhouse as Ghostbusters.
I'd heard of it, but I've never seen Frighteners.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it feels insanely long, but it's interesting. But yeah, I'm tainted on my review just because of nostalgia and the rosy glasses. Because I'm also in the 5 camp. Like, I could watch this movie like for the rest of my life. It's got its flaws, and it is a bit clunky at the beginning, getting going. Takes a while to get to like the climax of busting ghosts, and even that is a montage. But I just thoroughly enjoy all the little nuances throughout, and the special effects for the most part they still hold up to me. So definitely a 5 for me. All right, you're gonna go with the 1.
It was a weird experience for me, especially the first time through, because I had noticed, like I was talking about earlier, the Bill Murray of it all. That totally was better the second time I watched it, and it was nice because I was able to watch it like 2 days in a row, and it didn't feel like I didn't have to get through it. It holds up really well even on a second watch, even like a day later. But this wasn't a beloved movie for me growing up. It just wasn't very present. Aside from, just those few missteps of just some weird scenes like the Dana abduction scene and some of the weirdness from Venkman. Like, I did enjoy this movie. I do enjoy this movie. But it's just, I just like it. So for me, it's a 4.
Higher than I thought.
Right on. Yeah, I didn't mean to, come out at the start like making it seem like I didn't like the movie. It's just.
Oh yeah, Bill Murray's a hack.
No.
Hate everything he says.
Listen, I don't like to see this rift that's formed between the two of you boys.
Yeah.
You two had something really special, and I played a part in ruining that. I'm bowing out. Patrick, I'm sorry, but You're on your own from here on out, man.
You're stuck with me.
Bill Murray hating.
Patrick,
communist.
if you ever try to overthrow me again, so help me.
This is what I like. Resolution. See that? We had a character arc.
Nice.
Great.
And that gives Ghostbusters a 4.667 out of 5. So I think not too bad.
Yeah. All in all, very good movie.
Yeah.
Check it out if you haven't.
Totally.
Oh, wow.
So
This has been a long one, guys. I don't know how long these usually run.
Oh, we normally go for 2.5 hours sometimes. So.
Oh, we crisped it up.
So yeah, sorry for keeping you longer than maybe you planned to.
No. I was happy to talk. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to drag it out.
Oh no, you weren't keeping us late. So
Keep it punchy. Keep it sharp.
We'll give you some time now just to plug whatever you want. But first, I want to ask. You've been a guest on so many shows lately. I've got to ask, when is your podcast coming out?
I've actually been my roommate who came in here to give me his PKE meter to hang on to while we were recording. He and a friend of mine and I, we're playing with an idea, but I don't want to give it out just yet.
Okay.
But it's going to be in sort of the realm of... I listen to a lot of movie review podcasts.
Sure.
And a lot of improv podcasts. And this is going to land somewhere in between. I won't say anything more than that.
All right, on. I was just taking a wild stab, hoping that you had something going on, but it's nice that I hit close to the mark. It looks like so.
Yeah, we're excited about it, but I'm not really ready to say.
Yeah, of course.
Say much.
Well, let us know whenever you are. So.
I don't know when this is going to air, but September 30th, Cake Boss comes back to the United States for the first time in over a year with brand new episodes. And there are some really cool ones that we've been working on. And everyone can, if you watch it, you can see me, the guy who has been me this whole episode.
That's
cool.
That's actually perfect because this episode will launch on will air on the 30th. So.
Oh, Neato Burrito.
Yeah.
You guys could do like a whole Ralph, whoever's listening to this, you can have a whole Ralph day. That seems like a lot, even as I say it, and I am Ralph.
Or wait, did you say September 30th?
Yeah. That's
right. No, I'm looking at August 30th. So
even better.
Yeah, so this will be next week for us.
I'll be ready for my birthday the week after.
Oh, right on.
So if you're listening to this, get ready to send me a really thoughtful birthday regard September 6th at Cake Boss Ralph via Twitter or Instagram, because my ego is very fragile, and if people don't reinforce me, I will totally freak the fuck out.
All right, yeah.
I love the cry for help.
Yeah. It's a fitting way to kind of end the episode.
Do you guys do swears on this show?
Oh yeah, you're fine.
Oh, I would have been swearing the whole cocking time.
Oh, damn it. I need to let people know that at the start, I guess. I just assumed that...
Shit, titties, shit, fart, panda dick, shit.
My favorite forced swearing is from the movie Paul.
Oh, okay.
With Kristen Wiig, and she's
yeah,
penis farting buttholes or something like that.
Nice.
And he's like, okay, you're getting the hang of it.
Very nice.
Yeah, this has been a blast, guys. Thank you for having me.
Hey,
yeah, thank you.
Our pleasure.
Okay. So next time?
Yeah, next time we will be back with Conan the Destroyer.
Oh, sons of...
Get your subtitles ready.
Yeah. Until then, you can email us at reelcomicheroes@gmail.com, Real Comic Heroes on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can leave us a nice review on iTunes, which we would appreciate. And speaking of which, we have a review left by Rick D3487. It says, certified fresh in the packaging, the best trip down memory lane of the geek genre you could ask for.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, we'll be back with some more Arnold action. So stay tuned.
Kram.
Nice.
In an age when only the strongest survived, and only the ruthless triumphed, only one name became a legend. Conan, the Destroyer. In his first adventure, he fought alone.
It is written that a woman child must make a perilous journey. I want you to take her on that journey.
Now, he joins a wizard.
What are they going to do?
Have lunch.
A warrior.
There are 6 of them against her.
1, 2, 3.
A renegade.
I think you're right.
And a princess. Together, they are sent by a treacherous queen across the lands of hostile kingdoms to solve the mystery of an ancient race and seek the power of a phantom city.
You're afraid of magic.
When it comes from evil,
This will.
come anyway.
The Horn of Dagoth, destroyer of worlds.
The god will live again. Enough talk.
If they cannot seize the horn in time, the world will be plunged into eternal darkness. Grace Jones, Wilt Chamberlain, Mako, Sarah Douglas, and Arnold Schwarzenegger as Conan, the Destroyer. The all-new adventures of the most powerful legend of them all.
So this is slightly unrelated to what we're talking about, and I apologize for that.
Oh, okay.
But I hate it if you think you're going to fart really quietly, right?
Okay.
And you don't, and it's audible, but you're like, well, maybe nobody heard it, but you're watching the waveform of the sounds on your microphone being recorded, and you could see the little bump where it happened. So, yeah. No reason. I don't bring that up for any reason.
Oh, great. Nice.
Could have just said you bumped your mic, but hey, I appreciate the honesty.
Why would I do that?
Got something to play with now in the editing, so I'll see if I can isolate that.
I believe in the ghost hunting business, that is called an EVP. Oh, man.
The best part is you guys are... I have no control over this once it leaves. So you can put as many fart noises in earlier as you want.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to amplify that.
Just add other farts. And the listeners at home, if you're listening, those farts aren't me.
Oh, that's diabolical, covering up your own fart with saying we're going to put effects
Patrick, I thought you were on my side.
Fun with editing.
Yeah.